Hi guys, what's up? Happy Friday. Welcome to the State of Crypto, your one-stop for all crypto-related news. I'm your host Martin, and this is episode 22. Binance hack update, crypto domains, and Bitcoin and the trade war. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. This is all for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research before you purchase or invest into any cryptocurrency or digital asset. Now, if you are catching this stream live, welcome. And if you are catching the replay and have any suggestions, please make sure you leave us a comment below. Now, if you want to keep up to date with the latest crypto-related news, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button and that bell so you're notified when we go live. And if you want to keep on chatting once the stream is on, you can join us in the Discord. The link is in the description. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I need to check something out real quick. All right, on to the news, guys. Today's episode, I think, is going to be a little bit short, maybe. Not a lot of news. Maybe a couple of quick articles that we'll run through, and then charts are not much going on, so we'll get through them real quick, right? So, on crypto domains, they're being purchased and squatted on, and then they're being sold for profit, right? Like the several desirable crypto domains such as blockchain.com, bitcoin.com, ethereum.com, etc., right? They're fetching a lot of high prices, right? Ethereum.com was registered in March 2011 and has no relation to the blockchain technology. Actually, the guy who bought it didn't even know about Ethereum back then. And, this blockchain later adopted that name as well. So, this domain apparently is for sale for $10 million, guys. I mean, damn, that's a lot of money. Now, there is a large list of cryptocurrency related domains that are on sale right now for thousands of dollars on various marketplaces, right? And these include things like bitcointransfer.co, coinsbio.com, 360crypto.com, right? They're selling for $10,000, $1,000, $30,000, $20,000, right? Insane amount of money just for having registered a domain at some point in time, right? Now, if you have been wanting a crypto domain, well, either you get creative to get it, or, well, you wait for the price of the cryptos to go down. They won't go down that much, but if for some reason they end up going down to $2,000, $3,000, whatever, right? People might lose interest a little bit, and those domains may go dormant, and then you can probably make a better offer. Now, other than that, get creative because most of them are expensive AF, right? No kidding. Now, we're gonna go onto the charts real quick. Look at the daily, right? Market cap. Yesterday, market cap closed at $262 billion. We're in the 2 hour on the daily. All right, there we go. $262 billion, up 2.51% from the prior day. So yesterday, talking about today, right, the 23rd. Like I mentioned a couple of streams, market closes at 7 p.m. Central Time, and that's when we get the new candle going, right? So right now, market cap going down 0.13%, sitting at $262 billion, right? Now, on to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance yesterday, up, right? Plus 0.30%. From an opening of 69.59 and closing it at 69.75. Now, right now, Bitcoin dominance is null, right? It's sitting at 69.75, 0.00%. Nothing, not moving right now. Anyways, that's what we have there. Now on to Bitcoin news. Now, if you want to know why the price of Bitcoin went up, we covered it during a static video earlier today, and I would suggest that you go and watch that, right? However, the news, basically the fundamentals that made that price go up, is that, well, China is fighting back on the trade war, and they are slapping tariffs on 70 billion worth of U.S. imports, and the tariffs are between 5 and 10%. Now, it's not as aggressive as the tariffs that the U.S. imposed. However, they're still aggressive, right? And they're fighting back, which is normal, right? It was expected. Now, why did the price go up? Well, people are seeking refuge. People seek refuge in gold, and Bitcoin. We already established it in a prior video during when the trade war is going on, right? It's valid to seek refuge in Bitcoin. However, it seems to be invalidated when we talk about recession, right? When we talk about recession, gold went up, Bitcoin went down, and that's fine because gold, like we said, is a tried method of store value during a recession, and Bitcoin is not. So other than that, that's what we have on this article. Now, there is another article, and it's regarding the America's opioid crisis, right? And the White House this week sent an advisory to all its financial institutions, urging them to help tackle synthetic drugs, namely fentanyl, right? And the advisory note detailed how the White House believed that drug smugglers were financing their opioid, what do we call it, transfers or smuggling across the Mexican border. And, well, they're basically blaming crypto, and it's not an assumption. They're actually mentioning some of them by name, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Monero, right, as being having a direct bearing on the opioid epidemic. That's what they're saying on the letter. Now, I believe it's stupid that they're blaming it, right, and they're trying to fight crypto and trying to put bad rap on crypto, because crypto is, well, it's blockchain technology, right, and that means that every transaction is registered on a ledger, and that ledger is unchallengeable, it's uncorruptible, right, it's there. Once the transaction happens and it gets clearance, it's stayed there for life. Now, why don't they just embrace it and then trace these payments, right? And help land the big drug dealers, right? Maybe they are trying to fight it. It is just a hypothesis, right? I mean, a theory, right? Or, yeah, hypothesis. They might not want to get crypto to take off, because if people start looking at transactions, then think about it, right? For all these drugs to be smuggled in, someone has to know, and maybe that person is being paid to keep quiet, and who knows how high these payments can go. And if they're all done in crypto, then there could be a clear link from the drug dealers to some authority, and then to certain state or secretary or whatever, right? It could go up the chain. I mean, it's just let's call it conspiracy theory, right? Now let's move on to Bitcoin chart. On to the Bitcoin chart. Right, this is the main chart that we look at, right? Still in downtrend, starting to go up above the 10,243 resistance, which has not seemed to be holding up very much lately. Heading towards that 10,688. However, we have this down sloping resistance from the 75% on the equidistant channel that we have here, right? And that's where we're sitting at on Bitcoin on the daily. RSI being more or less neutral at 47. Momentum stagnating, starting to go to, well, let's call it even, right? Neutralizing momentum. Now on the 4 hours, right? Let's see this. On the 4 hours, we have this spike, which is the spike that we talked about in the stream, or not in the stream, but in the static video. Bollinger Band still open. There's still volatility above the 10,200, like we said. Momentum starting to stagnate a little bit, right? We can start seeing momentum go down. RSI sitting quite neutral at 53.63. That's where we're at. Now, on the hour, that's where we're seeing things, right? And if we ignore the wick, this large wick, we could say it could be a sort of double bottom. It could also have some sort of divergence playing, right? Bullish. Oh, sorry, not this one. 0, I want to do. There we go. It's also we've also seen this in the other on the altcoins as well when we've done the analysis, right? So it could play out. Still, we need to see what happens a little bit more, right? We are within a channel. Let's go over here. I think we had this yeah, we already had it traced here, right? I like this chart better because it's a little bit less cluttered than the other one with the resistance, etc. And it really lets us see what's going on, right? We have the 10,200 resistance traced. We were talking about this on the daily, right? How this could be a head and shoulders pattern, and we'll see it in an hour, and how we could use this neckline as support, which we have, right? Anyways, we also trace this downsloping structure resistance line, right, and this bottom support, and we talked about how we could bounce around here. We haven't touched it right now, but we could very well go up, touch, and then go down again, right? And go down and test this support, which has been holding for a while now. And if we actually go in the 1 hour, we're going to go into the other chart that we talked about during today's stream, because we have the curve, which has been cradling us and carrying us, right? So we haven't dropped below that curve, let's say. Now, what are we talking about, right? What is all this head and shoulders talk that we say? All right, this here, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We're failing to go to higher prices and break the neckline. Why? Well, because we said we were developing bearish divergence, right? And we talked about it in the static video. If you want to know what bearish divergence is, you can go watch it. We actually go a little bit into detail in explaining it. Now, we are still making bearish divergence because we chose to ignore this, right, as a valid point. Why? Because, well, still higher, less momentum. We were oversold on the other side, and we were going down, right? So we said it was here. We were doing the around 2 or 3, and we were really high up here, and we said we could go down, right? And we actually went down, and we said we could touch the neck and use it as a support, or we could go down and touch the 20. But we went to the neck, touch it, and then bounce off it, right? However, still sideways consolidation, right? And this has given us time to reset the MACD with these movements, right, and indecision going on. All right, go down, then next one go back up a little bit more, then go down again, then go back up to the same height, and we haven't been able to break above, let's say here, right? Except for this small wick that went up. Other than that, we are, let's say, bound. RSI still not resetting, still a little bit high, sitting above around 60, so 58.72 on the 1 hour. Bollinger Bands open, volatility is still there, so just want to see what happens. However, volume has been very low in the past 3 hours. Right. What could happen is we could have a little bit more of this divergence play out and see slightly lower prices again. However, in the 4 hours and in the daily, we have that bullish divergence, right, which could bring us to higher prices, and they're larger time frames, which have much more power over the smaller structure. Now, that's what I have for Bitcoin. Now we're going to move on to Ethereum. Ethereum, right? There's this tool that's going to be called Pantheon, which is a suite of Ethereum-based services that are built by Pegasus, which is a 50-person engineering team at Consensus. And now the Pantheon Ethereum client is built on Java, and it will be used to develop enterprise applications that will feature privacy and permissioning, right? Now, the open source consortium technical steering committee approves the proposal to adopt Pantheon project, then Ethereum would become the first public network, the first public blockchain on Hyperledger, right? And that'll be interesting for Ethereum and the Ethereum projects that are coming along. And yesterday we also covered another article on Ethereum that said that the World Bank was issuing bonds with Ethereum-based technology. Now, Pantheon does run on Ethereum public network, private networks, and test networks, such as, I think they listed 3, and it was the names are a bit weird, but it's Rinkeby, Robston and Gorley, right? And GO with 2 dots on top and then RLI. Anyways, on other Ethereum news, right? Open, which happens to be an exchange, now will let you trade Ethereum with 6 times leverage. This is good and bad news for investors. And when you get leverage, that basically 6 times leverage is that if you put $1, you basically can trade $6, right? Buy or sell, whatever, or take positions, long, short. Now, is it good to use leverage? If you know what you're doing, yes. If you're a beginner, stay away from it. You can get wrecked, right? Because, like I said, it's good news and bad news, right? You can amplify your winnings by 6 times, or you can lose 6 times the amount that you're losing, right? So it's very dangerous. If you're a beginner, don't go into using leverage while trading. You'll get wrecked. Even people that are knowledgeable, they end up making a mistake, and it costs them a lot. You can do a lot of damage to your trading account by using leverage and not knowing what you're doing. So, guys, be careful with your investments. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your money, but I would just advise you to be careful. Now, onto the Ethereum dominance on the daily. Cool. Ethereum. Ethereum losing dominance for yesterday, right? Went down 0.74%. Right now, losing dominance as well, sitting at 0.36%. We dropped below the 8% that we had yesterday, and we barely had it. And right now, we're sitting below again. So we're sitting at 7.79 dominance, which, like, if we take into account the article that we also covered yesterday that talked about liquidity and taking into account liquidity for market cap, and then it stated that Bitcoin would be at 9% market cap, and then that would mean Ethereum and Ripple, and then the other ones would be at 10%, right? So if we take liquidity into account, Ethereum would be even farther below the 7.78. However, right now, for just this stream, or the streams that we cover, we'll just say that's at 7%. We really want to see it above 8% dominance, even 10% dominance, right? And like we said, dominance has been decreasing for altcoins for a while now, right? Since I think it was like December of last year, or January, yeah. January 31st of 2000, I think it's 2018 over here. Yeah, 2018. So alts have not been able to recover on dominance. Is it good? Is it bad? It just means that more people are into Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin is dominating the market. So basically, whatever Bitcoin does, the rest will follow. Now on the Ethereum chart, on the daily. We had this wedge broadening thing here, right? And then we decided that we were going to trace this line because we could also see that it was being respected a little bit, which would make a triangle structure, right? We broke out of this downsloping channel. We used it as support, and then we bounced off it. That's why we kept it. Now, however, quickly on the daily, we're looking at divergence, right? We talked about it yesterday, bullish divergence. Now, on the RSI, there's also that bullish divergence, right here. And right now, yesterday we were talking about double bottom, right? We'll see it better in the 4 hours. But in the 4 hours, we're talking potential double bottom that could play out. Here's where we touched that support. Now we bounced off it, went up with Bitcoin in the pricing, and then it didn't go up that much this morning, which would have been this one. It's just this candle, but we're now back at the same. Let's say we're trading sideways on Ethereum, right? And we almost touched this resistance, and we were almost rejected, right? So right now, Bollinger Band's still a little bit open, having some volatility there. RSI is sitting neutral around 51. Momentum starting to decrease. Let's wait and see what happens with Bitcoin. And if all this divergence plays out, then we might be better off right now. These would also be another form of divergence. If we were to say this steady and this would go from here to here, would be another form of bullish divergence. And in the stream, and I'll just show this real quick, right? We showed this, right? So if we're talking price, would be this one here, convergence, sorry, and then no, divergence is this one. This red square would mean divergence, price is here, and then indicators decreasing, like we can see on the graph, right? So, wait, no, sorry, yeah, convergence. Yeah, I was right the first time. Sorry, for some reason I thought the we're looking at that divergence, but convergence here, right? We can see it by this example right here, right? Indicator going up, price more or less steady, which could also play out and help us go into higher prices, which we kind of sort of did. We went, let's say, up. Now we're going sideways. We have this resistance that we need to break. Let's wait and see on Ethereum. Now onto Ripple. Now I found this article and it says that I'm not buying it 100%, right? Because it doesn't explain how this is being calculated. Now the article states that the partnership between Ripple and MoneyGram has manifested as a 25% growth in Ripple to Mexican peso volume. Now I'll show you a graph and I'll quote a quote that is here, right? It says like, new and notable data shows that although the overall XRP trading volume was down nearly 65%, XRP to Mexican peso volumes on Bitso went up more than 25%. Now, during the same period of time that MoneyGram payments into Mexico using XRP went live, real case driving real volume. Now, my question and why I'm not buying it is, how is MoneyGram sending that money? They're supposed to have their own network, but them being mounted on XRapid, that would mean that they're using the XRP token, but are they using Bitso as their remittance sending or the processing of payments, right? Or it's Bitso being the processor of MoneyGram for the payments that are going to Mexico or not? That's the question that I have. So if MoneyGram is using Bitso, yeah, it would make sense because then remittances would be flowing through there. But if they're not, then it wouldn't make sense that Bitso is going up as well, right? So that's the only explanation that I can make or infer from this. I would like for more for this article to have been more weighted towards the news and maybe to the actual case of why this was happening, right? Now we're gonna go look at XRP on the daily. Dominance of XRP yesterday up barely 0.07%. Today, oh wait, was it up? Yeah, up 0.07. Right now, down 0.22. Now that's it for dominance. Like I said, alts losing dominance, trading going sideways right now, and being so low in dominance really just makes a case for such a huge movement to the upside at some point in time, unless they just get squished by Bitcoin, right? So onto XRP chart, and what do we have, right? We have the divergence that we talked about, double bottoms, this resistance from forming a triangle structure within this channel. We are touching it, rejecting it, right? Going red. Let's go at the 4 hour. And basically all alts are doing a variation of this, but more or less all the same. Now on the 4 hour, like we said, double bottom going up, right? When I zoom, it goes weird, but anyway, we touched it once, rejected it, almost touched it twice, rejected it. Now we're going down. We are seeing a form of let's see, on the sorry, not the daily, the 1 hour. And we talked about it yesterday, right? Divergence as well, bearish divergence, right? Which could bring us to lower prices, and it seems to have brought us to these lower prices over here. We had this small momentum, positive momentum develop, but I'm not playing with it. Now here there's no divergence, and you could maybe, if we do a U-turn and we go up, we could see something like this, right? And we could have bullish divergence developing, but still not confirmed. This momentum has just started to build, and there's nothing else that we can go there, right? Price is not showing anything over here. It's just the same. So that's it for Ripple. Just keep this in mind, right? I'll leave this green here so we know where we're at, and yeah, I'll also leave this one here. Yeah, that's it right now. Yep. On to Litecoin, because I didn't find any news on Litecoin. We're just gonna go straight into the chart. On the daily, Litecoin yesterday making positive dominance, right? Gaining dominance 0.18%. Right now losing dominance 1.21%. On to Litecoin chart daily. Still downsloping on the channel, finding resistance at that triangle that we have traced. Now this didn't double bottom per se, however we do have that divergence developing. Let's see here on the 4-hour, what do we have? Same things, right? Divergence. We found this small upsloping channel that we seem to have been respecting. It's better seen on the daily, on the hourly, and we're here, right? We could say that we're trading within this upsloping channel of sorts. That midline serving as resistance and support in some points of the pattern, right, or the trend. Let's say we had contraction, the Bollinger Bands exploded up, volatility open, making a large movement towards the downside, almost touching that support, and still moving. We could have also divergence develop, right, like we said. So here, maybe that negative momentum just starting to build. I would say let's wait and see how it keeps on developing throughout the night, and maybe tomorrow we can call something better on the overall. Now on to Binance news. On the Binance, now we talked about the Binance hack a couple streams ago, and we basically, KYC data got taken from Binance saying it wasn't from them, it was from whoever was a third party that was supplying them with the platform or the support for the KYC. Now, well, today Binance reached out to some potential victims and offered them a lifetime VIP membership. They would need to provide new KYC data to not have the same hack or information that was hacked. Anyways, they're trying to do something to make right whatever wrongs happened, right? Now, on other Binance news. Binance experienced some problems with the APIs, right? And withdrawal processing today due to network issues with Amazon Web Services. Now, as preventive measures, Binance temporarily disabled deposits and withdrawals to address the problem, right? Now, BitMEX also halted withdrawals, and Amazon did confirm that their Amazon Web Service experienced temporary outage in the Asia Pacific region, and that the recovery of the Amazon Web Services in Tokyo is already in progress, but it's not fully restored yet. That was at the time that this article was published, and doesn't have the timestamp on this one. So, anyways, that's regarding Binance. We also found this other article. It doesn't say much, but it says that Binance is about to launch Binance X, which is a network for developers in its ecosystem. Now, at the Binance meetup called ETH Berlin, visitors to the event will have opportunity to get acquainted with the representatives of Binance, whoever the developers of the ecosystem are, and then they will basically learn more about Binance X. Now, as this develops, we'll report on it, right? On to the Binance chart. Binance today on the daily dominance. Yesterday lost dominance heavily. It's 2.57%. Not much, but I mean, with however much weight they have, it's a lot, right? Now Binance gaining dominance, 0.26%. Binance on chart on the daily. Not much, right? All that indecision that we talked, that divergence we had traced earlier, right? Like I said, there's not much that has been happening. We've just been moving sideways. Except for that small up spike that we saw in the morning, everything else has just stayed the same. Right, and that would be this spike here, right? 7 a.m. Everything went up with Bitcoin, and then basically they just been going down. So, anyways, double bottom, potential divergence playing out. Let's see what happens on the. Let's go on the 1 hour. Right, we have divergence also up here, right? And the higher high with the same amount of positive momentum, and now we have divergence developing over here as well. Like it's the same as with the other charts, right? Basically, everyone is doing the same thing, and the alts are all doing the same. They seem to be in sync right now. So RSI sitting about neutral at 45. Momentum starting to stagnate a little bit, and then yeah, prices are starting to go down. This divergence did play out to lower prices. Now this not yet developed fully, but it could be a potential divergence, right? We're waiting to see what happens. Now, anyways, guys, happy Friday. That is all for today. I dare you to go and show this video to a friend of yours, and if they like it, they can subscribe as well. Anyways, I'm just kidding. Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Like I said, happy Friday. Go out, have some drinks, have fun. Night is young, is just starting. Class dismissed, guys. That's it. Thanks for watching.